If you're a leader at work, you may be in danger of your best employees leaving. And that is a nightmare for the leader because it takes time and it costs money. And then you have people with all this tremendous domain expertise, and that expertise is just walking out the door. That institutional knowledge is just walking out the door. Number one, hire well, get the right people in there. And then number two, to keep those people. Great hires and then being able to keep those people is one of the best ways to keep your business running and to keep your business growing. The costs of turnover and the costs of talent turnover, like real talent turnover, your best people, the cost of them leaving. I mean, the financial costs, lots of modeling has been done around this, lots of research has been done around this, and the financial costs are tremendous. The time cost to you and the trust cost to you, that got to trust people that they can do it, but you got new people now in the role and you got to bring them up, etc. This is really, really costly. And so you don't want your best employees leaving. You want your best employees staying. You want them really, really wanting to stay. As I have coached people and I have coached leaders at the world's top companies for the last decades, there are a small handful of things that I hear over and over again from directors, from VPs, even from SVPs, complaining about something about their boss, something about that they are not getting from work, something that is happening that is really, really bothering them enough to reconsider their employment. And I've had them literally say to me, I'm starting to look elsewhere. And again, if they're reporting to you, that's the last thing you want. So let's look at the 3 top mistakes that you as a leader might inadvertently be making that could cause your most valuable employees to look elsewhere so that you can avoid that and in fact do the opposite and keep your best talent. First, you have the best ideas, right? Your ideas are better than anyone's, right? We all know that that can't possibly be the case 100% of the time. And especially if you are the leader, it is so easy to fall into that mode. I was promoted to be the leader for a reason. I'm really smart. I know what I'm doing. I'm really good at this. And I've got an idea and it can help the team, and it can help this direct report, so I'm gonna give it to them. Even if the direct report is a leader themselves, they may be a manager, they may be a director, they may have a higher level, but it's so tempting to come in and say, hey, here's an idea, hey, do it this way. And even if you say, here's an idea, the unspoken word is, yeah, you should really do it this way. I had a client and she would have team meetings, and she had been at the company and had risen to a really high level over the last couple of decades. And consistently, her boss would come into these meetings and come and join the meetings late, near the end of the meeting, where people had already had the discussion and made the decision. They were ready to move forward on something, and her boss would come in, throw a fly in the ointment and say, do it this way instead. And it happened repeatedly, completely demoralizing to the team, completely demoralizing to my client, and trying to lead her team here. And here her boss is undermining her leadership and undermining her ability to motivate her team, because now, of course, they're so demoralized. And so ultimately, she quit. And that, of course, is the last thing that her boss wants. She was great at her job, all those years, all that expertise, all that institutional knowledge out the door. And now, rather than running like a well-oiled machine, now the department is, the boss is having to scramble to, all right, I got to get the right person in here. We got to get the onboarding plan. We got to get the ramping up period, and it costs. So rather than getting in there and really consistently trumping people's ideas, choose a different way, involve people, really hear people out, let them make decisions, and only jump in if they're about to go off the cliff. But if you hired well and if you trained well, that should never happen. Second, when you as the leader are in a meeting, and you're in a meeting with your peers and maybe with your boss, and maybe you've got a direct report there in the meeting with you, and there's an issue that's being discussed, and you share an idea and people say that's fantastic and that's going to solve the issue and everyone applauds you, it might absolutely come back to bite you. And what I mean by this is you have the clout. And so here you are in the meeting doing the talking. And I've had clients come back and share this with me that they were the direct report in the meeting with their boss and their boss's peers and their boss's boss. And this issue comes up, and you know that you, as the direct report, had already brought that up to your boss in the past, and that you had brought this idea to your boss, and your boss said, hey, we're going to have to wait on this. And now you're in this meeting, and your boss shares your idea. Maybe some time has passed, so maybe it's gotten a little foggy in your boss's mind. So maybe it was innocent, maybe it wasn't innocent, but they did not give you credit for your idea. How do you feel? You feel like you want to quit. And that's absolutely. I had a VP that I was coaching, and this happened consistently with her boss. And she feels like I'm the one coming up with the ideas, and my boss is taking them and passing them on as they're her idea, and she's not giving me credit. Completely demoralizing to my client, and she was actively making plans to how can I really love my company. I want to stay in the company, but it's a really big company, and there are absolutely other roles that I can go for, other departments that I can still use my expertise in. And so she's actively making plans, and that for her boss is a problem. Because if you've got your best people, and she was one of the best people planning their escape, then again, you've got a problem on your hands. So instead of that, keep track of whose ideas these are and give credit. That generosity will come back to you. And if you feel like, hey, it grows my reputation to have people feel like that idea was mine, what's really going to grow your reputation is that sense of, oh, this is someone who develops their people. This is a really, really good manager. And really good managers tend to get promoted to even the next level. Third, so you're the leader and you wonder, why do I have this turnover? This is a great department to work in. I'm a great leader. Why are people leaving? And why is there no team spirit? And maybe why do I not have people elbowing to get into my department? Or maybe you don't wonder those things. And actually you should, because I see it over and over and over again. As a leader, you get promoted into your leadership position. You're a director, you're a VP, you're an SVP, and you get solely focused on the work, because that's what you were promoted to be focused on and to do, is to lead this group and to ultimately contribute to the revenue of the company, whatever that means for your role. And so you focus solely on the work, and you think, well, isn't that my job? Well, it's partially your job, but of course, part of your job is to support people's growth, no matter what level of leader you are. A big part of your job is to support people's growth. And you might think that's not what my job is about. My direct report is a director or a VP, so they don't need me to help them to grow. It's really about hitting our numbers. But did you know that you are more likely to hit your numbers with really engaged people? And your attention to them, this is a human thing, your attention to them raises their engagement. When plants get sun and when they get rain, they grow. That's attention, and they grow. This is a principle of physics. Well, but I shouldn't need to raise their engagement. I mean, they're paid a lot. I have directors reporting to me. I have VPs reporting to me. So they shouldn't need me to raise their engagement. Well, as the saying goes, as go the leaders, so goes the organization. So if you're not supporting their growth in some way, if your direct reports are leaders, they're less inclined to support the growth of their direct reports. And then they're less inclined to support the growth of their direct reports. And so the organization gets stagnant, and the organization does not have a great culture, and people don't want to stay. And so that's where you get turnover. So how do you do this? If you have people reporting to you, and let's say they are at higher levels, and you think, well, how do I grow? How do I support someone who's already at the top of their game? Well, ask them. Ask them how they want to grow. Coach to that and support that. Include them in higher level meetings. Introduce them. Give them opportunities for exposure. but your support and your attention will go a long way in cutting down on that turnover. So if you want to be the kind of leader that has the top talent fighting to get into your department, they want to work with you and then they want to stay with you, then you can't always trump their ideas. You can have ideas. It's just that let's hear them out. If they've got a good idea, let's go with it. And if they do have a great idea, represent that to higher level management. Don't take that idea, even inadvertently. Pay attention to whose idea it was. And then just pay attention to your people rather than being 100% focused on the work. It's how can I grow? How can I support? How can I invest in them and their professional growth? And you do those things and you're going to have people clamoring to get to work with you and to get to stay with you. And it's going to be less costly. It's going to help you to have that well-oiled machine. It's going to help you have a much better corporate culture where people are having a great time and meaning then they are doing their best work. And then you get the business results to prove it.